Go check out CNLE Clothing for the best grip socks in the business and plenty more. Thanks for sponsoring this episode.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to my latest video. On today's show, we're going to get insight into a hot topic just now. We're going to look at the growth of women's football in Scotland over the past 10 years. In Scotland last season, the closest title race anywhere in the country was the SWPL, where Glasgow City, Celtic and Rangers could have all won the title on the final day. Glasgow City won with a last-minute goal against Rangers, snatching the title from Celtic's grasp. Is this the sort of excitement that's starting to attract crowds to the women's game? On the final day, Celtic Park had nearly 16,000 fans, and over at Ibrox, 10,000 fans cheered on the teams. We're going to get a chat with people involved from the grassroots right to the top of the Scottish game. We're going to try and find out how far the game has come and what is still needed to improve. So, we're going to start off at the grassroots and speak to all involved with the girls just starting out. This morning, at Parkley in Port Glasgow, we're going to see the wonderful work that the girls section do in the local area. So, let's go. Welcome to the show, and thanks for chatting to us this morning. Could you give us a brief description of what happens here every Sunday morning?
So we've got 3 different age groups. Thanks for having us. We've got under 7s, we've got round about 40 players come for that. The under 8s is what you see in the background just now. We normally have round about 13 teams, so that generally brings 10 players each team, so about 130 for that age group. And then next door we have under 10s,
Right.
and we also have 13 teams for that, so it's another 130. That's why the car park's so busy. So in total it's just around 300 girls every Sunday morning.
Wow, that's amazing. It must differ from when you started out. How many did you have when you first started?
A lot less than that, and we had to travel up to Harmony Row, and there was only about 6 or 7 teams, so it's absolutely brilliant to have this on our doorstep.
How did you actually go about starting the girls section?
I didn't actually start a girls section.
Did you not?
I took over from girl Leen McPhail, started Port Glasgow Juniors around about 2005, I would say, and I took over just around 14 years ago, so yep, it's good to see it grow.
Over your time running the girls section, what positive changes have you seen?
The numbers of games growing fantastically, especially at national level. You see how well Scotland's doing and England done recently, getting to the final of the World Cup. So the crowds at Hampden, we take all the girls to most home games. Crowds are getting bigger and the quality's outstanding.
Yeah. In the future, are there any changes you would like to see in the women's/girls section?
Well, you know, there's a big pay difference between women getting paid and guys, and it happens in a lot of sports, so it would be good to see, you know, the girls getting the same opportunities as boys when it comes to pro youth and stuff like that. That's not in place just now, so it would be good to develop that.
You must have seen many players come and go. Have any of them made it to the professional game?
Well, we've got girls who played for Port Glasgow Juniors boys, and they helped the girls as well. We've got girls go on to Glasgow City, Celtic, Rangers, girls who still play for Drumchapel and Barton, St Mirren, you know, so it's good to see that the girls are still playing after leaving Port Glasgow.
Finally, Margaret, why did you get into the crazy world of coaching kids football?
I love football, and when I was younger there wasn't any girls football available, so it's good that we've got the opportunity to give the
Are you still enjoying it?
Love it.
What made you get into football?
Playing it in school, and I wanted to join a team.
Just I saw my sister playing it and it looked fun, so I wanted to join in.
So my big cousins just always play, and every time we went to the parks and all that, we'd always have a kick about, and then I really just got stuck into it. I just kept bugging my mum to take me to football, so ended up getting us into Port Juniors.
My brother and my dad, because I've been sitting at the side of the park since I was in my pram.
What do you enjoy most about playing football?
I enjoy the adrenaline, so like when you're watching the whole team and you're watching the attacks form and
Uh-huh.
like the adrenaline after we score, and it's brilliant.
It's fun and it keeps me fit. Playing with my friends and scoring goals.
Do you feel like you get the same chances as to play football as boys your age?
Yes, in a team, but when it comes to school, I always get papped off to the side a wee bit because I'm a girl.
Well, that's like a bit of a tough one because see our school team,
Yeah.
I had to like fight to actually be able to play in that
Uh-huh.
because there's girls who can play up to for our boys teams up to the age of 16,
Uh-huh.
but for some reason they weren't really they didn't want me to play for the school team, but I managed to get myself in.
Who's your favourite football player?
Kyogo because he plays for my favourite team.
I'd probably say Cal McGregor because
Why is he your favourite football player?
because I relate with him a lot because he's captained his team, I captain my team. We've stuck with teams for so long. I've always played for footballers.
Kyogo and Jacinta.
Jacinta and Greg Taylor.
Did you watch the Women's World Cup?
Yeah,
Do you know who won it?
Spain.
Yep.
Wee bit.
Yeah, just a wee bit.
Do you know who won it?
Spain.
I did watch the Women's World Cup.
Do you know who won it?
Nice. Spain won it 1-0.
What benefits do you feel like your child gets from playing football?
The big thing obviously is going to be the keep fit, really keep fit. Especially with me being a coach, I make sure they're keeping fit along with all the other girls in the team as well. But also for a social aspect, it's good for them to meet new pals. And
obviously, you've witnessed that today. The enjoyment, getting to play with our pals, winning games and scoring goals. And I don't think anybody dislikes that, do they? So she loves it, absolutely loves it. I think it's been brilliant that the women's football's taken off.
Do you feel that everything's been provided for your child to play football here?
100%. I think girls' football's came a long way in the last maybe 5 years, but now it's amazing when you come down here on a Sunday and you see the amount of parents and girls that are playing football compared to what it was when I played football. There was a handful of girls and they were in with the boys.
absolutely, yeah. Especially Port Juniors, especially really good, providing loads of training opportunities. Look, there's so many different teams now as well, so many girls. So there is plenty of opportunity for them. Aye.
Do you feel that a girl gets the same opportunity as boys her age to get playing football? For example, pitches and playing time, etc.
I think there's probably more opportunities now for girls. I
Yeah,
think you can see the Women's World Cup recently.
that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you see the World Cup recent as well, the Women's World Cup. I mean, that's the stadium starting to fill out now as well for them. So, I mean, we could train 2 nights a week, but we train 1 night a week just for a bit longer. And then every Sunday, you can see how many girls are down here. I think it's phenomenal.
Yes. Again, coming down here on a Sunday, first time I ever come down was blown away with the amount of people, and the amount of game time, and the amount of teams that have got girls sections. But I feel as though it's up on par with the 7-a-sides with the boys as well. So I
What's the best thing about watching your daughter play football?
Probably that she's better than me. No, she loves it, absolutely loves it. She plays with a smile on her face all the time. I don't think it's just her, I think it's the whole, every girl. I think if you come down and ask any parent down here how much enjoyment their girl gets out of it, they'll tell you they love it. So for me, it's been brilliant.
The two of them are completely different. They're completely different types of players. One of them's a defender, the other one's a striker. So it's good to see from both aspects. It's sometimes Aubrey, who's a defender, when I see her making a really good tackle, maybe like a game-changing tackle with a throw on goal, it's it's just as good as watching wee Summer up the other end scoring a goal as well. So it makes me really proud and happy to see them.
just love watching any kids playing football, but with my daughter, it's great to see her grow as a person and be included, whereas before girls were kind of shunned to the side and it was all about boys when it came to football. So it's great to see her grow and develop and become a good player.
Well, we have had a fantastic morning down at Parkley, finding out what goes on at the grassroots in the girls/women's game. There was some great football played by all the girls at this level. It seems that the girls are getting a lot of chances to play football with organised teams, which is great to see. In the schools, there's maybe some things that need to improve slightly. Also, looks like all the girls caught some of the Women's World Cup and had favourite players who are women professionals, which definitely shows a big step forward with the coverage in the women's game is getting just now. Without people like Margaret, girls would never have the opportunity to play football. They are the heartbeat of these teams. So thank you for all you do for the Scottish game. Now, we are going to move up a level and spend a training night with Morton's professional team. I can't wait for this. Bang! And as if by magic, we have now made it to Lady Octavia. Tonight I'm getting the chance to chat and train with Morton's professional women's team. I'm going to get the chance to chat about the differences the players have seen over the past 10 years and maybe find out some things they would like to see improved. I'm also going to get the chance to speak to their manager and find out all of his views on all things women's football. So guys, please remember to like, subscribe and share. Oh, sorry guys, forgot about that. Also, follow me on all my social media pages. It's at maxmanameets.com, not at maxmanameets, on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you guys so much. Hi, could you introduce yourself and tell me how long you've been manager here?
Colin McKechnie, Great Morton first team manager. We're part of Morton Community, also look after the full girls and women's pathway, and I've been here since February last year, so coming up for 18 months.
So what are your first impressions of women's senior football?
First impressions, I probably thought a wee bit less of it. When I came in, we won 7 of our first 10 games, and I thought it was pretty easy.
Good.
And then we had a reality check last year after getting promoted and realised how tough it really is. So it's been tough across the board, but we're getting there.
In your time in charge, have you seen improvements in opportunities and facilities available to your team?
I've seen improvements and opportunities all over the board. We've played Livingston, we've played Hamilton, we've played Kelly at their stadiums. Unfortunately, we've not had that opportunity within our own club. Which is disappointing to use Caplow. We use Parkley Community Stadium, which is good, but there's plenty more opportunities we can get. We've had the strip launch together, but we've not had the full use that everyone else seems to be getting.
Do you know why you all use a stadium pitch?
No, we keep getting told it's because it's grass, but grass grows back in.
In the press recently, there has been a lot of talk about women's pay in football. Do you believe women are looking for pay parity with men, or are they looking for better pay and better facilities for themselves?
I think the conversations I've had is better pay, better facilities, and I agree, totally agree with them, and it should be. There's a lot being said that is it equal pay? I don't think they believe they want equal pay. They want equal opportunities and equal sponsorship rights, and they deserve that because the game's growing.
What improvements would you want to see in the women's game in the near future?
I think the facilities is a big one. We still play in school pitches across our league, which for me isn't good enough. We have to be playing in stadiums. We have to be showcasing what we've got. And until we start doing that, we won't get treated the same in terms of respect, in terms of coverage. So until we start taking it serious ourselves, then I think we've got a long way to go.
Right, thank you so much. Girls, welcome to the show. Can you remind us of your names?
Francesca, Rebecca.
During our time filming with the young girls, the feedback we got was at club level, they feel like they now get the same opportunity as boys their age. Was this the case when you were growing up?
I feel like for me, I had quite a lot of opportunity. When I was in primary school, I was always allowed to play with the boys. And when I was in high school, I was always allowed to play with the boys. And and I had more opportunities in high school to go to professional teams.
And with me, I'm completely opposite. I didn't really have the opportunity to do these things either.
Can you expand on some of the barriers you had to overcome to play football?
Do you have any?
I think it would just be that everyone's first opinion is it's a girl,
Yeah.
so they think you're not going to be as good as the boys, and they think that they're not going to fling in a tackle because they think they're going to hurt you.
Yeah, I agree.
In schools, the younger girls still seem to have trouble kicking a ball. Was that the same? Was that the same for you guys?
It was the same for me, but
I just found that I got stuck in more, but I know that when you look at younger girls, they can be shy and timid and not want to get stuck in with the boys, which I'd say is a pretty big barrier.
Did you ever get to play for a school team?
Yeah.
I'm playing for my high school team now, but I didn't when I was in first year, second year.
Have you guys seen a big change in the people's attitudes towards the women's game recently?
I think in the past year it's changed since England won the Euros last year.
Yeah.
So I think that's made a more positive impact on it, but it's obviously still not the same.
Yeah, it won't be the same for a while, but it is changing, which is positive.
And finally, what improvements would you like to see in the next couple of years in the women's game?
Well,
I think it would just be money in the Scottish game.
Yeah.
Obviously it's expanding more in England, but Scotland in their top league it's still quite poor.
yeah.
Right, thank you guys so much for talking to me.
How are you feeling, Max?
I can't keep up on that, good man. Jeez, well.
Keep going, you're doing well, pal.
Hi Leen, and thanks so much for sitting down with me today. Can you tell me and the viewers what you do in connection with women's football in Scotland?
So my role is CEO at Scottish Women's Football, and we run and administer over 70 competitions for girls and women across the whole of the country. So you'll know and have seen SWPL 1 and 2 games on the television. Our responsibility starts at the championship, and that's effectively the third tier of women's football. So from that all the way down to girls playing football for their clubs.
Since taking up your role as Chief Executive of Women's Scottish Football, what positive changes have you seen?
So there's been lots of positive changes in the nearly just over 2 years that I've been in post. At that point we were emerging through the impact of COVID, and so getting leagues and competitions back in order was in itself a real achievement, but perhaps the biggest one has been securing the partnership of Scottish Power. So we announced them in summer this year that they would be our principal partner, and that they are now supporting through sponsorship our competition, some of our competitions. And so that's a massive achievement for an organisation like ourselves to have and secure a big company like Scottish Power.
That's good. On a positive note, all the younger girls and the parents feel like they get the same opportunity as boys at their age to play football for the clubs. This must please you.
Oh, that's really pleased to hear, because my own particular journey maybe reflects some of those girls that you've spoken to earlier. So I went to a very small rural school. There wasn't enough boys to play football for a five-a-side team, so girls just played. We played and it was normal, and we kicked a ball about. But there was one moment when the coach of that team realised that he was going to need to have some girls in his team, and he didn't have any interest in that. He didn't want to see girls, and he told me and a friend when we turned up for training that the netball was over there and that we should go and play that instead. So I'm thankful that a number of years on from that, now it's a long time since I was at school, that things have changed, and that girls feel like there is opportunity for them, because that's all we want. If they want to kick a ball, then we want to make sure that there is opportunity on their doorstep for them to have that experience of playing a team sport, and there is no better sport than football to be playing.
After chatting and training with the Morton first team, we found out that they don't get to play at Cat Below. And also, a top of the league Celtic vs Rangers SWPL clash was played at Ergys Park. for the women's game to improve, should the teams be playing at the homes, clubs, parks?
Well, I think it's always a big spectacle when we see those big games played at the big stadiums, and we see that that's when there starts to be the record crowds. So if the Hearts games played at Tynecastle, Hibs at Easter Road, or if Celtic or Rangers get to play at Parkhead or Ibrox, that's when we start to see really bumper crowds. But we also know that there are challenges there. There are grass pitches that sometimes take a bit of toil, and we know that that is a challenge. Nonetheless, what is really important is about establishing a home for those women's teams so that they can establish a good fan base, and fans know when their team are going to be playing and where and at what point in the calendar. So there has been a lot of work to make sure that those women's teams do play regularly, to play at stadiums that are of a sufficiently good quality, so that that fan experience can be all it can be. But I do think that there is something in the ability of women to be able to play at those big stadiums.
On another positive, Celtic have just announced the new multi-million pound training ground for the women's team. This investment must please you. Are there any other clubs looking to do the same?
Yeah, it's phenomenal news to hear that Celtic are planning to invest so much into some new facilities to give their girls and women the real chance they need to really hone their skills and to drive up performances. So that's to be welcomed, that investment. Across the country, we know that facilities is a big issue. And for instance, I know that there's a lot of work going on in Inverness to create a new purpose-built facility for girls and women there, and that's to be welcomed. And I visited Shetland this summer, and the women's and girls teams there are behind a broader drive to get some 3G pitches in Lerwick, which will enable their ability to play more regularly in their town. So we know that facilities can be a challenge. We know that facilities are difficult and expensive, and public finances are stretched. So what we probably need to do is work through and understand where there are gaps, invest carefully, wisely, make sure that those facilities work well for women and girls, and that will require engagement with women and girls about what they need and want from those facilities. But I think it's to be welcomed that Celtic are taking charge and ownership over advancing their situation.
What do you feel like we need to do? Do you feel like there should be more full-time clubs in this country? And do you know any teams that are looking to go full-time?
I think, again, there are lots of benefits from those full-time teams and those professional outfits, and I know that Fiona McIntyre, who heads up the SWPL, is working really hard to make sure that that can grow in a professionalism as well, because that means that those women and girls are fitter, they're able to dedicate their time to playing their game well, and that improves the performance on the pitch, and that drives forward audience numbers because they can enjoy the game and they can see the improvement. So I think there's lots of ways in which we can work now together to make sure that we can continue to drive that professionalism and help support clubs to become more regularised in their training. In our end of the game, though, we know that there's just a need for us to make sure that we support and ensure the resilience and the sustainability of our clubs, to make sure that when they're there, that they can play and fulfil games and that they can do their best in their leagues that they're in.
And finally, can you tell me and the viewers some of your plans for the future of Scotland's women's football?
Well, that's a big question, isn't it? My goodness,
Yes,
there's a big lot, a lot to cover. So we have, like I said, we have this Scottish Power deal, and we need to now make sure that that can be really impactful and have a lasting legacy. Scottish Power are really keen that this is transformative for the women and girls game, so we're working really hard with them about how we use and deploy their support to enhance the visibility of our game, making sure that women and girls are supported, and making sure that we can increase numbers of participants across our sport and teams, but to make sure that those teams are sustainable and resilient, and that they can support girls and women to have wonderful opportunities to play football.
Right, thanks so much for chatting to me today, Leen.
Oh, thank you. I've enjoyed it.
That unfortunately takes us to the end of the video. I've had an amazing time filming down at Parklea with Port Junior's girls section, then filming at Lady Octavia with Morton, also having a very interesting chat with Elaine Campbell, the CEO of Women's Scottish Football. After talking to everybody, the chances at club level have definitely improved over the past 10 years, but at schools, the chances could be better and maybe get all the girls involved in playing football. In the professional game, the women's teams not playing at the home grounds I think is a bit rubbish. I bet if Morton were offered a Youth Champions League game, they would jump at the chance. Come on, let the women's teams play at home stadiums, it's got to be equal. Leen Campbell said that the Scottish Championship have made a massive deal with Scottish Power, which is a big positive. We also spoke about Celtic women's teams who have announced a new multi-million-pound training facility which will be opening for the girls' and women's teams. A big plus, but we need more clubs to invest in dedicated facilities or use the same facilities as the male teams. I think there should be more full-time clubs like Celtic and Rangers. Even last year's champion, Glasgow City, are not full-time. So hopefully more teams will come aboard, which will improve the standard of the women's game. This is Max Manor reporting for Youth Football Scotland on a very wet night. Thank you so much for watching.